Hi, my name is Carole Bellacera, and I'm an author of 8 books of women's fiction. And I've got some exciting news because my new book is going to be reissued soon. It's called East of the Sun, West of the Moon. Actually, this was my 3rd novel. It came out in hardcover back in 2000 I believe, and it's being reissued and will soon be for sale on Amazon. By the time you see this, it will be for sale on Amazon. So today, I would like to read you a little excerpt, but before I do, let me tell you a little bit about it. This is the people who've read this book will probably tell you this is my steamiest book. So if you liked 50 Shades of Grey, you'll get some of that. The only difference is my hero, Erik, he's not a jerk, okay? So that's the big difference. And I don't know, I honestly haven't read 50 Shades of Grey, so I don't know about the plot, but this has a plot that will keep you turning pages and will probably make you cry a little too. So, let me tell you a little bit about it. My heroine, to set up this scene, she's a congressman's wife here in the Washington, D.C. area, and Erik is a Norwegian exchange student who is staying in their home for the year. And he's a graduate student, so he's not a teenager. He's 28, and Lee is 40. Sad to say, Lee doesn't actually have a very good marriage. Her husband is neglectful, and he hasn't touched her in like months. So she's ripe for an affair, and that's exactly what happens. So it's an older woman, a younger man love story. And it is a love story, but I have to say, I mean, there's a little bit of lust in there, but it is a love story. I'm going to read you this scene here that takes place before the affair has started. And the evening, she's hosting a Christmas party at her house for Bob, her husband's constituents, and, you know, the other congressmen, things like that. I guess you would say Washington society. And so this other congressman has kind of made a pass at her, and she threw a glass of whiskey in his face. Bob wasn't too happy about that. So this scene takes place after Bob has already, like, you know, vented his fury on her, and he's left the room, and she's so upset that she drops the glass and it shatters on the floor, and when she bends down to clean it up, she cuts her finger. And that's when Erik comes in, and he hears what happens. He's very upset and angry at Bob, and he helps her. He bandages her finger. And so that's when I will start reading. Lee stood up, fighting dizziness as he helped her into her coat. He pulled on his heavy fur-lined flight jacket, and together they stepped out the back door. Lee caught her breath as the icy wind hit her. Almost immediately, she felt the disoriented, dizzy feeling begin to disappear. She sniffed the cold night air. Snow? Was it possible that they would have a white Christmas? Erik would love that. But then Erik wouldn't be here. He was going home tomorrow. The thought saddened her. Without speaking, but as if they were on the same wavelength, they headed toward the grove of trees surrounding the pond and waterfall. The rush of water was loud in the frigid stillness of the night. Near the trees, they found they were sheltered from the wind, and the cold was bearable. A glimmer of moonlight beamed from the black sky, playing on the sharp angles and planes of Erik's face. They stood silently for a few moments, staring at the white cascade of water spilling into the pond. The waterfall is called a foss in Norway, Erik said finally, his voice musical over the sound of the tumbling water. There is one special waterfall in Norway I would like you to see, Riardsfossen in Ås. There is a rather romantic legend about the place. Shall I tell you? Please, I love legends. Me too. In this one there was a man named Riard, who was very much in love with Anne, the daughter of the richest man in the province. Riard asked for her hand in marriage, but her father told him he would have to prove his love by riding his horse over the brink of the falls. He did it successfully, but on his triumphant return the horse slipped. They plunged to their deaths before the horrified eyes of Anne and her father. The girl was so distraught she flung herself in after him. Oh, how awful! His words had painted a vivid picture in her mind. Erik's teeth flashed in a crooked grin. Awful, yeah, but romantic. Norse lores filled with romantic tragedy. Kayleigh, I wish you would come to my country. I know you would love it. There is a little town in the south called Niserdal. It's the home of Julenissen, Father Christmas. When I was a young boy, we would visit there on holiday. I was always hoping we would see Father Christmas, but of course we never did. I think if we had seen someone who resembled him, it would have ruined our fun. You sound homesick. But early tonight you told me you didn't want to go home. He was quiet for so long that she thought he wasn't going to respond, but finally he did. Yeah, I did say that. Is it because of Dawn? Lee asked. You know you won't be separated for long. He turned to look at her, his face astonished. Christus, is that what you think? What else? Lee said. A shiver swept through her. But she wasn't sure if it was caused by the cold or the blazing heat in Erik's eyes. He drew close to her and pulled his hands out of his pockets to grasp hers. In the moonlight, his eyes drilled into hers. It's you I don't want to leave. Kayleigh, I'm falling in love with you. Lee gazed at him, astounded by his admission. She hadn't lost that much blood. Was this another of her bizarre fantasies? But Erik's impaling gaze was too real to be imagined. She felt paralyzed by his nearness. His hand softly touched her cheek, brushing her wind-tousled hair away with tenderness. Slowly he bent his head and touched his lips to hers. They were warm, so very warm. He drew away as if to gauge her reaction. Lee stared at him, her mouth half open, her breathing shallow. Her hands had tightened convulsively against the material in a silent protest at his withdrawal. Sensing her need, his mouth descended again, his tongue tentatively exploring between her lips. When she didn't pull away, his mouth hardened on hers, and the kiss became urgent with need and longing. For an exquisite moment, Lee gave herself up to it, encouraging the heat inside her to erupt into a blaze. Finally, from somewhere, she found the strength to pull away, to let the cold air of the December night bring her back to reality. She stepped away from him, still feeling the rapid pounding of his heart against her chest. Or was that hers? She found it difficult to meet his gaze, but when she did, his expression was almost too much to bear. He looked so young, so vulnerable. What in the world was she doing out here with him? She must be crazy. God, she'd sworn she'd never let this happen. But it had, and now she had to try to fix things before it was too late. She drew a deep breath before speaking. I'm sorry. I don't know why I let you kiss me. I guess I've had too much to drink tonight. That's not so, Erik said bluntly. You know what is happening here, and it has nothing to do with how much you had to drink tonight. I'm going back to the house now. Lee's eyes evaded his. Let's forget this happened, Erik. It was just a weak moment for both of us, that's all. Do you really believe that? When she didn't answer, he eyed her silently, then shrugged. If that is the way you want it. Merry Christmas, Kayleigh. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little excerpt of East of the Sun, West of the Moon. This book is available on Amazon.com. It's available on Kindle. It's available for your other ebook readers at smashwords.com, and it will soon be available in audio at audible.com. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.